Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here this afternoon with us. This really is a wild, strange new world that we're living in. I really have confidence. I know everybody does have confidence in how we're going to get this done. We all have the skills and abilities to do it. It's just going to be a new tool in our toolbox. So I hope everyone is contacting parents somehow, reassuring them that we're going to be able to be providing services to them, although maybe in different mechanisms. Katie's going to walk us through some of the technology that we're able to use today. Please don't hesitate to reach out if anybody needs something or has questions. I think everybody realizes we're all going to be here for each other. So I'm going to give it back to Katie and let her start with us. Everybody remember just to be safe. Take care of yourselves first. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Dr. Hugo. So I am Katie Sparks. I'm the STEM and computer science coach for MCCSC. I'm actually joined today by my husband, Kevin Sparks, who is the digital learning coach at Bloomington High School South. So we're going to be walking you through some technology steps. The first half, I'm going to talk about Canvas, and then the second half, I'll turn it over to Kevin to talk about video conferencing. We will not only record this session, but you will have access to all of these slides after. So a lot of what we will be saying today is more of, go here for this, you can look here for this, because we don't expect anybody to hear it from us once and remember it forever. So quick background, I taught third grade at Grandview for 9 years before taking the STEM and computer science job last year. So a lot of my experience is in elementary, but we are going to try to give you some information that's relevant to all grade levels. I'm going to do a quick overview of Canvas. I know we probably have a wide range of Canvas skill levels on this call, so this is just an overview and a place to point you to get directions. So right now I am in the teacher guidance documents, which is a Google slide deck that has been put together for all teachers for this time of remote learning. And within that, there are several different slides, sub slide sets, we'll call them. So sorry, I'm trying to manage the chat and talk at the same time. Go ahead and keep sending those questions in the chat though. I'm going to talk about sharing content with other teachers and courses first, because this is something that you will probably need to use either to share assignments with students in their homeroom courses if you're an elementary teacher, or in specific courses at upper levels. So we have a couple of different options when we're talking about sharing content. You can import course content from one course to another. This is great for importing entire modules. And if you're not familiar with Canvas, a module is like a file folder. So imagine a file folder that's full of different documents and activities, and you could share that entire folder. So if you're on Canvas and you create a module, fill it with different activities, you could share that whole thing by importing course content. Now, I don't know if that will apply to you all as much. I think you will probably be using this direct share method more often. It allows you to copy assignments from one course into another. So if you make an assignment in one teacher's course to use with a specific group of students, and then you want to use that same assignment with another group of students in another course, you can just copy it right over there. You won't have to recreate the whole assignment. There are videos on the next two slides about how to do that. We're not going to watch those videos right now, but this is a great resource for you to watch these videos. You can pause them as you go and make sure that you follow step by step how to share information so that you're not recreating your assignments once you've made them. And I will walk you through how to actually create an assignment here in a little bit. Another important piece about Canvas is it can be used for communication. Announcements are really nice at the top of it because they show up at the top of the page. So as soon as a student logs into a course, they see those announcements right there at the top. Announcements go to all students in the course though. So if you are a special education teacher that's part of a teacher's homeroom, if you are trying to make an announcement that's not for the whole class, this probably would not be the best route to go because announcements do post to the whole, every student in the course. What would be a better option for you are these inbox conversations. So over on the left-hand side of Canvas, you can access your inbox. Again, this is a video that walks you through exactly how to do it. But you will be able to message either an entire course, which again, probably doesn't apply to you, or you could select certain students within the course. You'll want to make sure that you click here, send an individual message to each recipient. That way, if a student replies to you, they're not responding to the whole group. So if I'm the teacher and I send a message to 5 students, I don't want those 5 students to be able to all respond back to each other. And so I would check this box so they can only reply to me. Okay. Now, as far as actually creating assignments, this is one way that you could create assignments that are only for certain students. So you would go into the homeroom or the course of the student that you're creating an assignment for, and you would click on the assignments button over here. And then you would click on create an assignment. Sorry about that. Jumping ahead a little. Here we go. You would add an assignment. So you're adding a new assignment right here. This is where you're actually creating your assignment. And when I say assignment, I don't just mean like a quiz. This could include a video. This could include pictures. This could include text or directions. This could include all sorts of things, but we're calling it an assignment. So when you're thinking about what kind of assignments you will be making, keep in mind that you have a wide variety of things that could be included just using this assignments button on Canvas. So let's pretend that I've created this practice assignment. I've put a description here. I've included some pictures and some links that I want my students to do. Make sure that when you're choosing a submission type, it automatically sets it to no submission, which means that your students would not be able to submit anything, but you want them to be able to submit a response to you. So go ahead and change this to an online submission. Then make sure that you've checked text entry, media recordings, file uploads. This will allow your students to display their knowledge in a wide variety of ways and not just through typing. And I know as special education teachers, guys work towards all the time is giving students multiple ways to show what they know. So make sure that you're giving them multiple options. And I would even include that up in the directions with a sentence like you can submit your response via text, video, or picture. The website URL, the reason I didn't check that one is because I really didn't think that we would have a reason for students to submit another website to you. But if you have a reason for that, go ahead. If you think that your students should be submitting website URLs to you, then you could go ahead and check that box. Okay, so the next thing is, this is how you choose just certain students in the course. It'll automatically say it's assigning it to everyone. You can click on a little X next to the word everyone, and then you'll see a drop down of all the students in that course, and you can just select your students. So right now there's only 1 student in the course. I just put 1 student in there so you could see what it would look like. That student's name is Casey. I would just click on Casey and it would assign it to her. Keep in mind there would be a whole class roster there, and you would just find the students that you want to and then we did include this slide here for technology support. You can call this number or email the accounts at mccsc.edu. You can also reach out to Kevin and I. Kevin's email address is ksparks and mine is kesparks, both at mccsc.edu. So feel free to reach out to us as well. I know that you probably have a lot of questions, some of you, about Canvas still, and some of you are probably thinking, I already knew everything you just said, but we wanted to give you a crash course on the tools that will be most helpful to you in a remote learning situation. So before we jump over to video conferencing, are there any other questions about Canvas that might be good for the group? If you've got something specific for your situation, please go ahead and send that to us. I see, can we upload a PDF as an assignment? Yes, you can, but students will be able to write on that PDF. So you can link a PDF in there, but you would just have to say, like, you know, type your response or record your response below. They won't be able to actually write on that PDF. Good question. Any other questions about Canvas before we jump over to our video conferencing options?
Katie, can I say one quick thing about PDFs?
Yeah.
One thing about uploading PDFs is that when in doing so, to make sure that you're maximizing accessibility for all students, we want to make sure that that PDF is readable through the readable software that we might have through like the iPad accessibility features. So the way to test and make sure that the PDF is readable is if you go into the PDF and you can actually highlight the individual text, that it allows you to do that in the PDF Adobe, then you know that it's readable.
Perfect. Thank
Does
you.
that make sense?
Yeah. I see another question. If I send an assignment to one student and the others in the group won't see it, what about other teachers on the page?
Evals per quarter.
So in here, if that does if you do create an assignment and you assign it to 1, 2, 3, whatever number of students, no other will see it, but the teacher will see it. Yes, if anyone is listed as a teacher in that course, those teachers would see that. I mean, you just may want to let them know that you'll be creating an assignment or 2 or however many, so they'll see some pop up, and just so they know that it's for just those students.
Period was, I think we said it was 60 days.
Okay, and then any way to get an app like SnapType Pro pushed out to student iPads? I can ask the tech department, the IT department. I honestly am not sure, but that's a good question. So I will ask.
If we did 60.
And then there's a question about if you don't have Canvas access. We can set you up with a Canvas account. So just shoot us an email and we can take care of that access. It's not us. We can get you in touch with the right people who can help you with that. So just shoot us an email. Okay. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin to talk through. Yes, and everyone, if you could please mute. I've hit mute all a couple times, but I can still hear a few people. So if you could please use the microphone, it would really help us hear everyone. I think what's happening is it's muting everybody on a computer, but it's not muting everybody that's on a phone. So we're still getting some feedback from those people on their phones. So make sure that everybody is muted. It's sounding a little better to me now. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Kevin, and he is going to walk us through some video conferencing options. So, all right.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening. And again, this is a thing that you're going to be able to reference to later, to where you can go back and try out these conferencing options that you're going to have. We're going to go over 3 options for you guys today. Zoom, as we're on right now, Microsoft Teams, and Google Meet Hangouts. But we're only going to be using one with students, and we'll talk about that'll be the last one we talk about, and that'll be Google Meet. That'll be the one that we'll use with our students. But Zoom and Microsoft Teams are great to work with each other, staff, your paras, other teachers that you may need to confide with. So we'll go through these real quick. Again, the 3 that I just mentioned, and it talks about, here's your adult to adult collaboration, and it can include parents. If you have IEP conferences coming up, Zoom, Microsoft Teams would be good for that. But when you just want to meet with a student or a couple students, however that's set up for you guys, Google Hangouts Meet is the best option. It's titled Google Meet, but they talk about it as Google Hangouts Meet, so don't get too confused with that. When you see those words, that's what it's referring to.
And just so you all know, I'll chime in real quick. A ton of research has been done in the past week or so by our what is the best video conferencing option, because I know that people have their favorites, But moving forward, we feel like Google Meet is the safest for our kids because of the things that Google is doing for education in this time of remote learning, so that students aren't creating their own conferences after the fact or logging back in and chatting with their friends without the supervision of a teacher. So if you're wondering why it is that we're only suggesting this one, that's the reason. The other thing you might have heard is that Campus has a conferencing app, and that is true, but Canvas has told us they are so bogged down with people all over the country trying to use that right now that it's really slow and hardly working, and so they really are not recommending, our district is not recommending that for that reason.
And Katie, if I could jump in real quick, just to kind of talk about the case conference aspect of things, because I know a lot of people have had questions about it. Just so everyone knows, we are, I'm in the process right now of finalizing a document that's going to be a step-by-step for how to conduct case conferences virtually, and how to, I think we're really recommending utilizing Zoom for that, because I think that'll have the most functionality for including parents in it. But that step-by-step document will be located in the Contingency Learning Plan Special Education Collaborative Workspace Shared Drive that everybody now has access to. So I just want people to know that, you know, the features that Kevin's going to talk about with Teams and Zoom and everything, as it relates to case conferences, there'll be a guidance document with the specific steps for that.
Okay, thanks, Mitch.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll go through Microsoft Teams first, and the big thing I'm going to talk you guys through is getting Microsoft Teams set up and going. And for each conferencing platform we're going to talk about, that's the big thing I want to get you guys set up and able to understand how you're going to get logged into them and use them. So with accessing Teams, the easiest way to do it, honestly, is with the web. If you go into Outlook, into your email, you see the 9 dots up at the top left. If you click on that, it gives you a drop down of all of our Office 365 apps that we have available to us. And one of them is Teams. Simply select that, and it's going to launch Teams right then and there. When you're inside Teams from the web, you can get the desktop app if you would prefer. The download button is down at the bottom left. That way you can have that version. Some people like to work based off the web. Some like their own application. It's just a preference. For those of you, I know many of you have iPads. Phones are able to access Microsoft Teams. You can download that from the store. The big thing when you're getting into those is that you're using your @mccsc.edu account and password. I'm going to walk through getting it set up on the iPad, and as I'm going through setting up on the iPad, I'm going to talk about what it's going to be like on a laptop as well. So simply go to the store. You're going to find the Microsoft Teams app and download that. Okay. You're going to choose to sign in with your @mccsc.email. Choose work or school accounts. Right here, I apologize for the arrows not pointed up correctly. And then enter your password. Once in, this is where you're going to choose if you want to allow notifications or not. If you want to be updated when people have invited you to a call or have sent you a chat message through Teams, you can have these on so you can get those in real time. You're going to want to allow access to the microphone if you're going to be talking. Okay. Once you're in, okay, it's a very simple setup process of creating a team. And you're going to choose create a team. There's a few options when you go in to create a team. One of the cool things actually they have option of is for a PLC team to create. Since we use that a lot, that might be one that you might find yourself utilizing later on. You give it a simple team name, and then you just start searching for people within our corporation. You can use last name, username, and people will automatically populate. And you simply choose their names, and when you're done adding everybody, you hit add. Your team has been created. And to simply start a call, once you're inside your team, there is a video button. If you see the blue arrow, there's a video button. All you have to do is hit that, and you will start a conference call with members of your team. Now with Zoom, we're in right now. This is one that a lot of us have been starting to get a little extra practice with because this is the one that a lot of people have been using. To sign up, you'll go to this website and create a free account using your work or your Google. What we've noticed if we use our .edu accounts is that Zoom has lifted the 40-minute time limit of a conference. So you'll be able to have access right away, which has been great. You can also fill out this online form just to make sure that you're going to have that license correctly for your account as well. To participate in a Zoom meeting, a lot of you just did that today. So it's very simple to join a meeting. You'll usually be provided a link, kind of like you were today, in an email that you simply click on. There is a meeting number that can be given to you, and you can type that in to join that from that way. So a lot of different ways to join Zoom. A few steps on how to create a new meeting, how to join, how to schedule. You can set up ones for a later date. If you know you have a case conference coming up, you can go ahead and set that, and you can share that with the correct people that are going to be needed for that case conference. I've seen that a couple questions real quick about using Zoom with parents. Zoom would be a good one to use with parents. Again, we just don't recommend using that with your students, but with parents, that would be a good one to use. It's easy for them to access as a parent. They're going to understand it very easily, and you don't have to worry about as much. With Zoom for Windows, you're going to select the Meetings tab, and on a Mac, and click Upcoming to View. You can start. You can change your meeting times. You can change the details of the meeting, or if it's canceled, you can delete it. Here's a video on setting it up. Again, this is something to refer back to later to kind of walk yourself through, pause as you're going through setting everything up and getting used to it. More tutorials are available. We wanted to link to where you guys can go back later at any time and look and read on anything that you want to know more about. Zoom has a very extensive tutorial list for each specific little thing. There is a mobile app for iPad and iPhone. Again, a few steps on how to set things up, what it's going to look like in the iPad or iPhone, Android, everything. Google Meet, so the one where you're going to be spending time with students. Okay, we're going to talk about this real quick. These cheat sheets right here, the getting started directions, and the Google and the updates. If you get a chance when you're done here and you have some time to look at this stuff, these are great sheets that walk you through how to start meetings, how to share your screen, how to have those conversations with your students safely. Again, we're going to walk through setting it up through the app, and I'll talk about it as we're going as for a Windows and Mac as well. So again, we find the app in the store. We're going to allow access to the camera. You don't have to allow access to the camera if you don't want to, if you don't want to be seen, but you do want to probably have microphone available so they have access to that. Once you're in, there is a spot where you can hit start a new meeting, or on the Windows and Mac machines, there is join or create a new meeting. Simply hit that, and it's going to automatically create a link and a dial. So if anyone wants to join by phone as well with the PIN number, they can do that, kind of like what a lot of you have done today, where you've joined by your phone. So it will give you the link. It'll give you the phone number to dial in to allow you to share with your students. Now, sharing with your students, you can share by email, Canvas, like we talked about in the inbox and conversations. You can copy that link and that phone number, and you can send that inbox conversation to the student, or you can send it to the parent so the student has it, if that's going to be the easiest way for you to get that information to that student or students. Okay. Once you're inside, you're going to have options to present your screen, to switch camera on or off. Up at the top, you're going to have the ability to chat. If you need to invite another special ed teacher into the conference with a student for questions or anything like that, you can add them later. If they don't get added right away in the beginning, not a big deal. You can add them in. You can send them an instant invite to where they can join right away. If you're having volume issue or audio issues, there is a chat feature, kind of like in this one that a lot of you are using right now, where you can have that conversation through chat if need be. So there are a lot of different ways that you can make that available. So I know that was a lot of information on 3 different platforms, and this is something we're going to share with you, these slides, and those links that are in the slides are what's really going to give you the real step-by-step tutorials on creating meetings with everybody. The one thing I recommend, and something that we've been big with at pushing over at Bloomington South, is go in and try. Get with a teacher or a couple teachers in your building or someone that you know well, your paras, and try one. Send just them a meeting and get in and try it. Get comfortable with the tools that you have, the capabilities, the buttons that you're able to select, whether you're working on muting and unmuting, or you're sharing your screen, or you're working on the chat feature. It's a great opportunity for, before we get started with students, to try that the next day or 2.
And even calling friends and family members at this time. I know my family did a Zoom with 25 people yesterday, and we learned a lot about Zoom pretty quick. So definitely you could use these tools outside of just work related, just to try them out before you do try them with any students. Just so you know, you guys have been asking great questions. I've been jotting down a lot of them that we'll have to follow up on. So if we haven't responded to your question, it's not because we're ignoring it, it's because I've jotted them down and we'll get you an answer. But before we turn it back over to Dr. Hugo or Mitch to wrap us up, what questions do you have about video conferencing that we could address as a group?
Yes, Meet, sorry, I just saw one about Meet being available on student iPads. Yes, Meet will be pushed out to student iPads if it's not already there. That is something that we will get with the IS department on, making sure that that is available for them. If not, it will open up a web version. The link for them to join will allow them to go through the Safari app as well.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. As Katie said, she's been jotting down the questions, and we're going to try and see if we can answer all of them quickly. We realize that some parents do not have access to internet. We're working on that, trying to figure something out. And we will be working to get all of the information out to you that we can. I know some people seem to be having trouble accessing this on a phone. I was hearing from several people. So we will get back to you on some of the resolution we have on these. Also, remember, we are presenting essentially the same presentation tomorrow to the paraeducators. That was my understanding, that it's very similar. So if you wanted to see it again, if you wanted to join us again tomorrow, you're certainly welcome to do that and hear it again. It's in the step-by-step. If anyone is having any other questions, please reach out to us. Katie and Kevin and the whole department has been great about helping us. Lots of options for working with families and students. And I know we still have some challenges, but we've got a little while to get this going. This is still not even the first day of instruction. So we will get this done. I've been so impressed with all the work that people have been doing so far, and it will only get better as it goes along. So thank you guys all very much.
If I could jump in real quick, just to bounce off what Kathleen was saying and addressing some of the questions. I think we want to be able to answer all of your questions and do it really efficiently. So I'm going to plug the special education Q&A Google spreadsheet that's in that shared drive that we have. that's an option for you to post your questions in there, because that way, that's something that we'll be monitoring. We can answer the questions that come in that way. And then you can also see the questions that have been asked and what the answers have been. So we'll be able to efficiently respond that way. And you'll also be able to see answers to questions that, maybe you've had some of the same questions and you've seen how we've answered them to other people. So I'll just give that a little plug. But we will take a lot of the questions that we weren't able to answer in the time that we have here and try to get those in there, or get them answered and get them out to everybody.
And just to reiterate one more time, you will have this whole video. These slides will be shared with you as a video so that you can hear this exact meeting later, but then also the slides, slide decks themselves, so that you can click into the videos and actually watch some of those tutorials. So you'll have all of the stuff that was shared with you. Okay. As I said earlier, Kevin's email address is ksparks and I'm KE-Sparks. So sending an email to either of us will loop the other one in if it involves the other, but we're happy to help. We're happy to send you on to the right person if we're not the right person to answer your question. But just know that we absolutely don't have all the answers, but we are here to help. So
don't be afraid to ask questions. We know a decent amount about certain things, so we want to be able to share whatever knowledge we have that we can share with you guys to help you guys through all these new adventures, we'll call them.
all right, well, we will turn the recording off now, and we'll wrap up unless anybody, Dr. Hugo or Mitch or Kathy, anybody else have anything?
Hoping that everyone has access to the step-by-step guides for all special educators. If you're still having trouble accessing that, contact me. This is Kathy Bruner, K. Bruner at MCCSC.
Perfect. And we have seen a couple of people ask about K-2 not having iPads. So what would video conferencing look like for those grade levels? And that is a good question that we will have to dive into a little bit more. I wrote that one down. All right, everybody, thank you, and stay safe, stay well, and let us know if you have any questions.